Hi submarine friends. Well, you can see that I have I've got the engine compartment. I've got the engine compartment in. I've got a tack welded in place. I'm not going to weld it up until I'm completely confident that it's exactly where I want it to be, which is going to happen here very shortly because I bolted the exhaust in and lined it up to the engine portion. Now it's an inch and a half away, so there's an inch and a half gap right here between the two pipes. So what I'm going to do, I've got this piece of pipe, which is the flared end of the exhaust pipe, that'll slip right over this pipe. So I'm just going to chop this pipe off, slip this guy in, and then bolt these two together. These two flanges will be bolted together. Then I will spot weld this to this piece right here. Oh, that's not super ideal, to be honest, because to get this out of here afterwards, I need to take the whole exhaust manifold out. That's a pretty big job. So, what if we cut, oh, that's a bugger. See this hole right here? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a hole right here. The tank, when this was a propane tank, it had a giant pressure relief valve right here. And it's not in the way of the engine compartment, but it's in the way of welding the engine compartment. So I cut the valve out and I have to make a patch. Now, that's no problem, of course, but what's handy is, because there's a patch, or a hole there, I can feed my welder stinger through. So that's really handy. Otherwise, I'd have to lower a welder in here to reach this. So, but I don't know what to do now, because maybe what I should do is just weld it to one side, and I could maybe clamp the other side. No, there's not enough. There won't be enough meat to it. And I don't think, I might be able to weld that in place. If I remove the hydraulic tank, wow, I think that's a big ass helicopter going by. Holy smokes. So the other thing is I can't really cut this exhaust here because it's just too close. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this guy off. Nobody likes a coward. So let's just cut that thing off. By the way, it's actually really nice working in here because I have a heater in here. I've unplugged it now because it's, it would probably affect the volume of my video. So let's cut this guy. Actually, let's bolt it tight first. I brought a pocket full of bolts. And so the other thing is, somebody had a brilliant suggestion and I listened. And that was, make sure you put the door for the engine compartment inside before you put the engine compartment on. And I thought of that before, but I probably would have forgot, to be honest, because I actually thought it would fit through the hatch, and guess what? It won't. So it's a good thing that I put it in here. I'm just bolting the this piece here, this exhaust piece. It's removable, so you can take the manifold out. Okay, so I just got to put a nut on the back side. I got to take the hydraulic tank out anyways to change this plumbing a little bit. So, just going to tighten this guy up. I actually brought a tool for that in anticipation. Now, I think I'm going to put a second one in on the bottom. Because when I cut that with a Sawzall, it's going to want to jump all over the place. And once I get to that stage, so right now I want to get the exhaust connected so I know that the engine compartment is going to stay there. That's the first step. So then the next step is I've got to get the hydraulics hooked up so that I can start the engine. Because right now the engine has a pump on it and the pump has no oil to it, so that would be very bad for the pump. So once I get the hydraulics hooked up, then I can start the engine and circulate the antifreeze. Because you see, I put all new antifreeze in it. I bought a gallon of concentrate, so not the pre-mixed stuff. And then I topped it up with weaker antifreeze that I drained out from an earlier engine starting. So I'm sure that the antifreeze is strong enough, but I would prefer if it was circulated before I risked it. Okay, so let's cut this guy off. Okay. Let's move that. I did bring a file so that I can cut this burr off. So now this sleeve should fit over top. Come on. Of course, it's got a little dent in it from shipping. Are you kidding me? Okay, maybe I can just bend it with the pliers, or vice grips rather. Okay, where did that go? I mean, it can't go far. It's in the stuff. Are you kidding me? It must have went all the way under. What's a pain in the ass? Where the heck did it go? Oh man. Okay, maybe if I lift up this end of the floorboard. There it is. Went all the way to the end, of course. Okay. It'll be nice to have the lighting in here. Did I talk about that? As soon as I have the hydraulics hooked up and the exhaust hooked up, I can hook power up, and then I've got a light in here which will broadcast into this room. Come on. Let's see if this fits over that one. Wow. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, that one fits. Just got to get it over this one. Yeah, the temperature is dropping in here because the heater's turned off. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to take the rag out of there. I should be able to slip that in there, like so. Beauty. Now I just gotta, oh, you know what I gotta do? I forgot. I gotta make a gasket for that. So I brought my gasket stuff. Now this gasket is not going to, be permanent because it's too small. But I need it to, has to be in there for the thickness. So I'm just going to put it in there temporarily because I couldn't find a bigger piece. I know I have more. Okay. There we go. Then I can just cut a little notch there for the bolts. Just like so. It's pretty cozy working in here. Lots of room. I know you guys are thinking, what is he, nuts? That's lots of room. For a personal submarine, this is a lot of room. Okay. Now that's a pretty ridiculous gasket, but I'm just gonna put a little notch in it so I can, in case I want to start it up before I replace this. Just gonna make a hole in it so the exhaust can go through. I mean, this probably would work, but it's kind of low class. Okay, let's see. You gotta flip it over. Nope. It can only go one of 4 ways. There we are. Okay, so I just gotta trim this one a little. Boy, that's an ugly gasket. Holy cow. But again, I just need it for the thickness. How did that go? Nope. 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 Yep. Of course it's the last one. Okay, just gonna trim this guy here a bit. And then I can bolt it to this guy here. And again, I don't know which way, how it goes, so I have to. Well, that's just freaking amazing. First try. Okay. I actually drilled and tapped this so that it doesn't need a nut on the backside, although I'll put a nut on the backside. Just makes it nicer to put together. Okay. Now I think might have a little interference problem. There we go. Okay. There we go. Gotta get a little short bolt in there. It's working out. Be nice if I had a little more light. Come on. Doing this by braille. Here we go. No, I'm going to have to put in a bolt from the other side. That's okay. I don't have room to put the bolt in, but I do have room for a nut. Okay. Come on. There we go. The gasket is just being difficult. Okay, one more. Oh no, that's really out of whack there. It's really a tight fit here. I'm getting it. Okay, let's just see if I can do it from the other side. That's being a pain in the butt. Okay, there we go. That might just work. Okay, I'm going to squeeze that together with vice strips just to get it where it has to be. There we go. Try that. There we go. Now just go tighten this up. And I can spot weld that guy. And I can take it apart and I can do a full weld on one side from outside. Unless I decide I want to try and weld the whole thing up from inside. I really don't want to have to take the manifold off. Just for that. Okay. I'm really glad I'm at this stage of the project, that's for sure. Just want to tap it a little so that whatever has to move to seat itself, so to speak. So it's not binding, in other words. Okay, look at that. Look at that. We are cooking with heat. Nice. Put a nut on that side. Come on. Come on. So my goal today is to get the engine bay on. That's done. That wasn't too bad. I just had to trim a couple of spots. And look at that. Boy. Can't complain about this. This is not bad at all. So one thing, I have to take this apart anyways because I don't have sealant on the there we go. Oh, look at that. I can live with that, guys. Oh, I bet I can weld that. It's going to be like a monkey in here, but oh yeah, that's a pretty tight fit too, so okay, look at that. Okay, so what I was saying is I have to undo this end of the exhaust anyways. It's only got 2 bolts in it right now, but that's threaded. So that fitting threads into the hull, and I don't want any exhaust leaks, so I'm going to take that apart, put some high heat silicone on there, thread it in, and then it'll be good. So, can you see that? Right there? It's right there. Nice. That's nice. So now, I will spot weld that guy. Boop, boop. I didn't bring my helmet in here, but the plan changed anyways, so I can bring the helmet in. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to remove the hydraulic tank, and I'm going to remove this air breather, or the air intake, so that I have some more room to work. And I don't have an Allen key, so I got to go get an Allen key. I'll take this tank out, and I'll redo this fitting. and I may elevate the tank because my oil intake for the pump is right here at this height, and the bottom of the tank is at this height. I mean, it's not terrible because the tank oil level is up here. I should have reversed these two. So this is the pressure and this is the suction. I might need to raise it anyways because we're going to have some interference here. So that's what I'll do. I'll remove the oil filter assembly so I can raise it. I got lots of room to raise it. And I just put some shims in the brackets. Piece of cake. Okay, so got a hose pinched in there. Oh, there we go. That is the hose that sends air to, where does that go? Well, it's really long. This goes here. Yeah, it has to plug in here to send air into the back ballast tank. But first, we're going to get the engine running, get it working, get it so it can charge the battery. These interior lights are great. Up there, it's just bright as could be. Okay, so I gotta go get an Allen key wrench for that, and a big crescent wrench to take that off, and then I can work on elevating that tank. But I think it's lunchtime. I've been at this quite a while already today. Here's my steering. That sure turned out nice. Boy, I'm happy with that. Whoa. Nice and smooth. It looks good. Okay. So that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to go have a cup of tea and some lunch. Ciao.